one chance is everything we've waited for. It's our time, so let me take it home and knock it out of this world. That is the world where we going.
And then there were four. We're at the semi-final stage of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup with England, India, South Africa and Afghanistan, the teams left in battle. Well, today on the SportsMax Zone, we are previewing the first semi-final, which pits the undefeated Proteas against the tournament's most prolific opening pair in Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Ibrahim Zadran, when South Africa and Afghanistan battle it out at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy later this evening, with a coveted place in the final up for grabs. Well, Nikhil Uttamchandani, he joins us via Zoom for some in-depth analysis of not only the teams but the expected playing conditions in Tarouba. Nikhil, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, good afternoon, Morel. Yeah, really good, really excited for these two semi-final clashes. I think they should be quite exciting, and we're getting closer to what will be a historic winner in this World Cup. Can't wait.
Yeah, and I think it's fitting that we start by talking about the conditions at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Tarouba. For our viewers who are not too versed in what takes place where the conditions are concerned in Tarouba, what can you tell us?
Yeah, definitely the biggest thing when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago at night is the dew factor. There's always a rain around. It is the hurricane season. So Trinidad, as many will know, there tends to be a lot of rain. And when there isn't rain, there can be dew. So I think for the spinners especially, that will be another challenge. Probably Afghanistan may deal with that a bit more given how much they rely on their spin and also the wrist spin that they have. Rashid Khan, Noor Ahmad. It's generally easier for a finger spinner to grip the ball when it's wet. But you talk to some of the best finger spinners in the world, even they can tell you how much it challenges them. So the dew factor, the toss, I think, comes into play big time. Afghanistan have won a lot of games batting first and then defending totals. If South Africa win the toss, I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of force Afghanistan to chase, knowing the weaknesses that they've shown in their middle order. So when it comes to conditions, I expect, a slowest surface. There will be spin. Maybe a bit of two-pace nature. It could be good as well. That dew factor does allow the ball to slide on, to come onto the bat a bit better, but definitely it will be pretty wet in terms of the conditions. So something for the spinners to contend with.
Yeah, and our producers here, Nikhil, they're very hardworking and they've been so kind to give us some statistics when it comes to the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. So let's just take a look at what they prepared here for us. So this is for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, the competition that's taking place right now. 4 matches have been played at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy. The average in the first innings score has been 91, average runs per over, 5.48, defending wins 1 and chasing wins 3. So they're putting, Nikhil, into perspective what has happened when it comes to this venue and, how teams has gone about their business. And what I'm seeing here is if you chase, you seem to be winning.
Yeah, that average first inning score can be a bit misleading because obviously Uganda would have played a few games here. So when they were routed, it definitely would have brought down that first inning score. But what stands out to me here is the chasing team wins more often than not. And now I think it begs the question, will Afghanistan go away from their strengths to suit conditions? So because it's a chasing ground, it tends to get better as you go through the night. Maybe the dew factor, a bit more moisture in the field allows the ball to come on a bit better. But I'm wondering, a team that have been so strong, you saw those 2 games in St. Vincent, one against Australia, one against Bangladesh, where they're just so adept at getting to a power total and then having the bowling to defend it. But on a ground where chasing has been sort of the preferred suit and against a very powerful South Africa batting lineup, are they brave enough to chase? That will be the big question tonight. Probably, I still think the better thing, looking at the makeup of their team and the reliance on those openers, probably better for them to bat first. But again, that dew factor could be a huge factor. Maybe some rain around. I saw some reports saying that there could be a few showers around as well. So if there is rain around, you want to chase given Duckworth-Lewis and all of its ramifications.
Yeah, and it's so much to unpack when you think about these two teams. South Africa, they've been undefeated in the competition so far. So it's something that everybody will be looking forward to see if they can keep up on that. Then there's also the narrative, Nikhil, and the last thing I saw is we're not sure about Rahmanullah based on the fact that he picked up that injury against Bangladesh. And I feel as if without him, the team faces a massive blow. Do you have any updated information as to what's going on with him, that injury? Will he play? Will he not?
Yeah, I was trying to find out, Maria, but they didn't practice yesterday. They opted to take that day off because the schedule has been so hectic. So no one really has a clue in terms of what his status will be. Obviously, it's pretty bad. So even if he does play the game, I don't expect it to be 100%. Maybe he may not keep, which then brings the prospect of playing 19-year-old Mohamed Ishaq, who I thought should have come in a few games ago, just to help bolster that middle order. Yes, he's very inexperienced, very new to T20 international cricket especially, but I just think you want another specialist batter in that top 5. It's one that has underperformed. I think they've got the least production of teams in the tournament from numbers 4 to 7. They've got the power of Rashid Khan, but they need one of Omarzai, Nabi, Gulbuddin Naib, and maybe an Ishaq to step up. Whether Rahmanullah plays, obviously if he plays, being the leading run scorer, it's going to be a big boost. But I think even if he does play, the openers who have been very happy to just play things safe and get to a par total against South Africa in that batting lineup, depending on conditions, may need to go a bit harder. And for that to happen, obviously you bring in more risk. So I think greater responsibility must be taken by that top order of Afghanistan. Someone else has got to step up. We've seen glimpses of Omarzai, what he can do in the IPL, partially in this tournament. Gulbuddin Naib, a bit more powerful. Nabi's done well in one-day international cricket with bat in hand, but hasn't come to the tournament in the T20 phase so far. So I definitely think someone must show that added responsibility if they're to get off the line tonight.
Yes, so that's something we'll have to watch to see when the team, of course, is named and announced and we know what's happening, because I feel like, Rahmanullah Gurbaz has really contributed to this tournament, and it must be a blow, not only when it comes to numbers, but psychologically, to know that the team will not have him if that ends up being the case. But we'll wait and see. Another player that I think will be very tricky later will be Tabriz Shamsi for South Africa, because he's a player that really knows the Caribbean conditions. He's played in the CPL for different teams from time to time, and I think he will be one to watch if South Africa is to get over the line.
I think both him and Maharaj, obviously everyone has spent a lot of time talking about Afghanistan spinners, but when you look at Afghanistan's batting lineup, the entire top 7 is all right-handed. So it really brings the two left-arm spinners in Shamsi and Maharaj into the equation. Both are obviously playing in Trinidad and Tobago, which we know to favour the spin. I'm also curious to see another battle, and that's how the fast bowlers go against Afghanistan, because I remember that India game, Arshdeep and Bumrah took them apart in Barbados. Obed McCoy and it was Obed McCoy and Andre Russell in that West Indies game. So they've struggled against high-quality pace bowling, and obviously we know what South Africa will get. But if it is a slow surface, it could almost help Afghanistan, because you're losing pace once you use the pitch and you go into the surface. So it's going to be really fascinating. I think there are a lot of different ways it can go. Klaasen versus Rashid Khan is another one. You can think about David Miller versus Noor and Rashid, two guys he's played with at the IPL. So it's really going to be fascinating, and I can't wait for this. And again, the weaker teams, when you think about some of the teams that have gone by in the tournament, when it comes to conditions and the surfaces have been challenging, it brings those teams into the equation. And Afghanistan, with that bowling lineup, if Trinidad and Tobago plays to how we've expected it to in the last couple of years, and somehow they can find production from that top 5, we're in for a cracking game of cricket.
Yeah, Nikhil, South Africa and India are the only two full-member ICC nations that Afghanistan haven't beaten so far. And the Afghans have shown in this tournament that they can match the best in the world. But the South Africans will go in with a confidence, as I said, knowing that they've never lost to Afghanistan in international cricket and that they're undefeated so far in the tournament.
Yeah, massively. I think, Lance, the thing about South Africa, and look, everyone is saying, well, they've always got to the semi-final. It's almost been like a jinx. The biggest thing for me, and I think back to so many different instances in this tournament, 12 for 4 against the Netherlands, chasing on a tough surface. Bangladesh game where they had only 8 or 9 to defend in the last over and were able to do it. There's been so many close situations where in the past South Africa would have faltered, would have lost. And the fact that they've won those games and they've remained undefeated. I mean, Markram's record as captain, both at the Under-19 World Cup 10 years ago and this one, is phenomenal. I just think this team is different. I still think they're yet to play their best game, batting-wise. I still think that top order can contribute a bit more. But there's a lot of confidence to take within that group. And just watching them, the way they closed out the two games, one against England, and a game where I thought England should have certainly won, and then the one against the West Indies, two high-pressure, must-win games. It was amazing to see. So I definitely think it's a different team with a different mindset. And as I said yesterday, I expect them to get into the final.
Yeah, and we spoke about the Afghanistan batting at the top and how potent it can be. And I was looking at the fact that the South Africans have managed only 10 wickets through the power play so far in the tournament, but with a decent economy rate of 5.85. How does that factor in your analysis of this game?
Yeah, I think there's so many different options that South Africa can go to. You saw in the last game, Rabada only bowled 2 overs. I mean, this is Rabada, one of the best bowlers in the world in all formats. So the fact that they have a guy like Markram, I mean, I don't think he'll come into the equation much because they have so many right-handers. But they have both Maharaj and Shamsi you can go to. They've got Nortje with the brand new ball, hard new ball who can use the surface. And then it'll be interesting to see if, based on the struggles of Afghanistan to pace, that they go maybe the extra seamer, but I doubt. I expect them to retain the 2 spinners in Trinidad, and then you've got the extra bounce of Janssen, which can be quite menacing. Mentioned Nortje and then Rabada. So they've got all their bases covered when it comes to a bowling perspective. The key thing for them has been the runs, and they've not played on the easiest of surfaces. But the biggest standout to me is that one of Miller, Stubbs, and Klaassen have showed up in every game, and now they've got the cock firing. And once he gets off to a good start, it almost, I think, allows more freedom in that middle order. So definitely it's going to be a tough challenge, even as good as Afghanistan's bowling has been.
Yeah, the Afghanistan will provide a different kind of challenge than the West Indies did to the South Africans. How much do you anticipate, based on South Africa's roster, that their 11 will look any different from their last outing?
Yeah, I can't really see it, Lance, because I think the biggest toss-up for them has always been whether they go the extra spinner or they go to the extra seamer. So Bartman and Shamsi have rotated in and out of the team. But in Trinidad and Tobago, just knowing what we know about conditions there, I can't see them going to Bartman as effective as I think he would be. I think Rabada, what he's shown in the last couple of games, being able to bowl at the back end, has allowed them to fill that deficiency. So I fully expect Shamsi and Maharaj to play because it's Trinidad, because Afghanistan have so many right-handers. And then they can also go to Markram as well. So look, it's going to be a different challenge, as you said, because of Afghanistan's quality of spin. I don't think we've really seen South Africa tested against this good of a spin bowling lineup in the tournament, especially in challenging conditions. But I just think for Afghanistan, they've not really faced this much depth before. Yes, we could argue Australia, but I still don't think they're as deep as South Africa when it comes to a batting front, and you have Janssen walking in at number 8. So we saw how much South Africa used their depth against the West Indies to get home in a tight chase. And I expect them sort of that to be a bit too much for Afghanistan tonight. Yeah,
you spoke glowingly a couple of minutes ago, Nikhil, about Markram's captaincy efficiency. As a captaincy battle, how do you see him matching up with the Afghanistan skipper?
Yeah, it's 2 ultra-aggressive captains. You look at the way Markram is captain in this tournament, he's taken a few risks. And we know Rashid Khan as well. I think it's going to come down to, again, the batting of Afghanistan and whether Rashid Khan, they've used, for example, someone like Gulbuddin Naib at number 3 before. I wonder if they can maybe get a bit more fluency, a bit more positivity in that top 3 and take a risk like that. Rashid has been good himself finishing, so they can use Naib up the order. But I think for Markram, he's been all out aggressive in this tournament. And he's told his team that they're allowed to make mistakes. You've seen with Reza Hendricks, who's not really gotten off to the start that they would have expected, but they've backed him throughout. And I think what we're seeing from him is that level of continuity, and I think it's worked. You see a level of confidence within this South Africa group that in those tight moments when they defended 25 off the last 3 against England, when they barely got over the line against the West Indies, they didn't panic. And he's just, I think, instilled a calmness within this group that has been missing in past world events.
Yeah.
All right, just before you go then, I think you had predicted yesterday that South Africa has the edge for this first semi-final, so I will take that hasn't changed. Nikhil?
Just for clarity.
Yeah, it hasn't changed, Lance. I'm going all the way as to say I think South Africa will win the World Cup. Maybe it'll change after the second semi-final, but I think this is the year for them, honestly. But don't hold. I may change that one.
Okay. All right, Nikhil, thanks as usual. Always great talking to you here on the SportsMax Zone. Great on you, mate.
All right, thanks,
so you said yesterday that you thought that Afghanistan would be the team that you would like to go through to the final.
I'm so happy because I was actually queuing you behind the scenes to bring it back to me because I needed Nikhil before he left. Just to clarify for our viewers who tune in day after day that he's still sticking with South Africa. So good job on that one, Lance, because you were thinking exactly what I was thinking. And yes, I'm going with Afghanistan. I think I'm so proud of what they have done in the competition so far, and I want to see them go on to win the entire World Cup. So let's see if they can just win this one today, and then they'll take the final one step at a time. What about you, though?
I give South Africa the edge. I give South Africa the edge. I know a lot of hearts are with Afghanistan because people like to see the underdogs, you know,
and I just keep saying we have a Trini in the bowling aspect.
For that reason, you would want Afghanistan to do well also because of Bravo's influence on the team and what he's been able to achieve with the team. But I just think South Africa, in a crunch situation, has the tools to survive. Yeah, and they have shown so far in this tournament that they know how to get out of tough positions. So I'd give them the edge here, but who knows what will happen later. We'll watch and see.
Game on. Can't wait to talk to Nikhil tomorrow. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we have a lot more to talk in the world of sport. Don't go anywhere.